how hormones act in your cells. So we've talked about how hormones get to your cells. We've talked about some of the different mechanisms by which they work, positive and negative feedback. Now let's look at just when they're on their way to you, how they actually work. Now this is quite complex. This is the last video in this one. Many people might not get to this, so if you've already got here, then well done. Now, there's two different types really. Some hormones bind to membrane-bound receptors, and they'll do that if they're too big or have got too much of a charge to pass through the plasma membrane. Because this membrane, that purple circle around, that's made of fats, and fats don't like things that are charged because they're not charged, and they're also packed quite closely. In this case, then our hormone is going to bind to a cell surface receptor. Okay? However, that's not going to be able on its own to cause an effect. So what it needs to do is be the primary messenger, and the other side of this membrane-bound receptor is then able to coordinate a control and a response in the cell. And what that's going to do is then cause changes, which would be the secondary messenger in the cytoplasm. So this CAMP, that is your cyclic AMP, and that's what's actually then going to cause enzymes in your cell to have a response and cause the response that you want. The other type are lipid-soluble small ones, so they're your steroid hormones. Okay, those ones are not charged, they're quite small, they can whip right through that purple membrane, and they interact with some regulatory proteins within the cell itself. Okay, and those ones have an impact on your DNA, so they turn some genes on or off, and that's going to cause the effect. Steroids you might associate with bodybuilders, but a lot of the natural hormones in your bodies are based on steroids. It's a type of molecule, okay? And they are made from cholesterol, another thing which has a bit of a bad rep, but some cholesterol in your body is necessary to make these steroid hormones. Some examples of steroid hormones would be estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol. So all of the things that control sexual development and the menstrual cycle, they are all made from cholesterol, they are all steroid hormones. Okay. We also have thyroid hormones that act through nuclear receptors. So they bind to a transmembrane protein, but that actually brings it in. Okay, so that's the one on the far right. So what you're seeing there, it has a membrane receptor, but that membrane receptor actually uses energy to bring that molecule into the cell. And that then again binds to a protein, that's our third pathway on the far right, and has an effect on the DNA itself.